We'll get started. Welcome to the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for Tuesday, December the 12th. Let's all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh.
They just started.
How much fun is that?
So let's take attendance first.
So noted.
McCarthy's legacy.
As a brief introduction, the Zoning Board of Appeals is a 7-member quasi-judicial body appointed by the Bloomfield Township Board of Trustees per the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act. Matters pending before the Zoning Board of Appeals are decided on a case-by-case basis. Any appeal of a decision made by the Zoning Board of Appeals is subject to circuit court review. Each case will be called separately in the order shown on tonight's agenda. There will be an opportunity for public comment at one point during each case. All persons wishing to comment will be asked to provide their name and address at the podium. Address your comments to the board and not the applicant or the other members of the public. Given the number of appeals tonight, please make your comments brief. Comments by the Neighborhood Association will be considered as part of the factual information provided to the board, but those comments are not the determining factor for approval or denial. Please confine comments to the specific request for the board. For a request to be successful, an affirmative vote of at least 4 members present is required. We hope this helps provide a better understanding of what you can expect at tonight's meeting. So you can see, typically we have 7 Zoning Board of Appeals members here tonight, and tonight we do not have 7, we have 5. Still, the required number of votes is 4. So you'll need 4 out of the 5 of us to do that. And I'd also like to acknowledge tonight that we have Bob Taylor, who has served on the Zoning Board of Appeals for 19 years in his last meeting. So Bob's served in a number of capacities. and I'll say, Bob has been a realtor since 1974. So I'm not objective, but I think we have a really diverse set of viewpoints here on our board. We have an architect, I'm a real estate attorney, Bob's a realtor, and I think all of those different viewpoints really help us in making decisions. And as an added bonus, as a realtor, Bob many times has either been in the house, or he's been next to the house, or he's had an open house on it. And Bob is also a gardener, so when screening comes up, he's got several suggestions on the types of plants, whether something will grow, or all that. So he's really been an invaluable member of our Zoning Board of Appeals, and we're really sad to see him
I
go.
could do consulting.
I could do consulting, yeah. So thank you, Bob, for everything that you've done. He got a very nice recognition at the Board of Trustees meetings last night, and I wanted to recognize him here tonight. So
I've enjoyed doing it, and I'm leaving a great panel to deal with the citizens of the township.
But his vote still counts tonight, so you still need, still need his vote. So we'll call, with that background, we'll get started. So item 1T, 3330 Burning Bush Road. Is the applicant here? It's tabled from the last meeting.
Because he didn't
I
show.
heard this last time, and it looks like they re-notified it because it encroached a little
Yes.
differently than what the
Yes, that's what the
stuff
staff
is.
told me this morning. Yes.
It's basically the same as last time.
Okay. So if you guys feel comfortable, would you want to proceed? I can't vote on this, which
Well,
is fine with me.
Want to
So
go ahead?
I did read the package. I can make a motion. Is
Well,
that what
you,
we're going to do?
you need public comment.
okay. So if you guys are okay, I'll open this to the public. Is there anyone that would like to speak on this item? And I'll close public comment and then.
Okay. Well, with regard to the appeal at 3330 Burning Bush for the permission request required for the proposed pavilion, I moved that the request be approved as submitted based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards. because use of the accessory structure is appropriate to the neighborhood, as there are other outdoor living spaces that are similar. And with regard to the dimensional variance at the same address, 3330 Burning Bush, for the required proposed pavilion encroaching into the easterly side yard setback, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the size of the lot. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason that it is properly screened. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated, given that it is a smaller lot in the village and they're only encroaching 1 foot. It is not self-created due to the unbuildable area of the lot. So, if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year and all permits to be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
I have motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. That was a very well done motion. And so let's call the next item. 1P4600 Charing Cross.
Hi, I am Sabrina Brown with Mosier Design Co., and I am here on behalf of the homeowners at 4600 Charing Cross Road. So we are seeking a approval for an existing gate and piers that was installed. The owner hired a contractor that was out of the area and to build this, and it was designed with the homeowner and kind of not with us essentially, and then it was basically designed higher than what was approved. All in all, we do feel that it was built to be extremely tasteful. It coordinates architecturally with the scale of the existing decorative walls, and it also provides additional safety on the highly trafficked street. Therefore, we feel that this was built reasonable to the property and to the location.
What's the practical difficulty? Other than somebody did it without paying attention.
So he's a lame duck here. You're going to see some comments from him that might
I know, yeah, so we provided drawings, they were approved initially, and then just due to kind of the actual install and design, they were built not per those drawings
So
and
we
done
hired a
separately.
contractor that can't read his prints.
Yeah, I think changes were made that were not through us.
So you're in a tough spot here. I really
Yeah.
appreciate
And I-
that
yeah,
you were asked to
yeah.
do this. You know, we have great respect for the Mosher organization, and you've been
Yeah,
asked to do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So
this
do you have any further information on how this happened? And can you give us any options maybe, other than, you know, we've got a, you know.
I don't have any further information on this specific one with options to what can be done. So the fence itself was custom built. That is 5 foot with where it stands. The piers, all I can think of with that is either possibly raise grade around it to make them shorter or to kind of chop off the top
You need
essentially.
six, you need,
Let's go with that.
you
Is
need-
is it possible to chop off the top?
Looking at those, I guess with relation to where the fence is right now, that fence or the gate goes right underneath the cap. So with the design currently, no.
see, the original
Yes.
approval was 5 feet piers and 4-foot gates. So
And
you
now-
needed that 1 foot. So the reason we have a 6-foot pier is we have a 5-foot gate.
Yes.
If we didn't have the 5-foot gate, we wouldn't need the 6-foot pier. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out what the practical difficulty is.
You're in a very tough spot.
I know,
You just-
I know.
And-
With
and-
minor information I was given.
And
I don't have good facts
be
here.
assured, I love your company.
Yeah.
You're-
Absolutely.
you're
And
just-
if it makes
You're here to
sense-
pull a rabbit out of somebody else's
Yeah.
hat, yeah.
If this was Santa, you'd be on the naughty list. Not
I know.
good. You're really in a tough spot.
Yeah, so if it makes sense to table this so that I can talk with Matt and figure out what he wants to do necessarily, because obviously, yes, per your point,
'Cause
it
I'm just
was
guessing.
approved.
I don't know what you guys think, but these two votes would not, I mean, it's.
I understand.
This error is significant. We've seen other ones that are sort of, non-material.
foot,
But you're,
yeah.
this is like,
Well, it's only 18,
and you should not have been sent to present to somebody else.
okay.
that's why Matt's not here.
Yeah,
I know.
we're going to let Matt have it the next time he's in
Okay.
here.
I'll let them know. So,
Okay, let's continue.
Yeah, okay, so you're amenable, you want to postpone, so we do want
Yes.
to motion it, so.
absolutely.
So we need some options here, because it's not going to be able to stay as
Okay.
put up.
Well, do we have people here to talk on this public comment?
Okay, we can do that too.
Well, they showed up, so I figured.
All right, is any, I'm sorry, Bob and I monopolized conversation. Did anyone-
Let's open it to the public comment.
Okay, is anyone like to speak on this? We'll open the public comment. Okay, we'll close the public comment.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to motion the postponement of this case at 4600 Charing Cross until the next meeting.
So motion and support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, the only thing I want to point out, though, is
up?
if we postpone this, are the only people that can vote on it the four of us now?
That's correct.
That's even worse.
So would you be willing to come back, Bob, for this first meeting?
I have a headache that day. Let me see.
If I brought in a cheesecake or something, would you come back?
I guess I'm not sure if they'd be able to make the deadline for the January meeting at this point. She'd have
Okay.
to have a decision and plans back to me like within a week to make that cutoff. So
Yeah,
maybe keep that in
And I
mind.
guess, because we're all okay with the fence staying up, we kind of recognize this unusual situation, and so, I mean, I'm okay with that.
I could do the 9th or the 13th.
He's back.
13th would be,
February.
the 9th is January, the
You weren't
13th is
appointed,
February.
so I'm sorry.
I'm not appointed, I can't come back. That's even better.
This
Oh.
is it. You weren't reappointed.
So there'll only be 4.
Wow.
This is a pickle.
I'm sure you'll come back with some options that the four of us would
Yeah,
like,
we can
so
think of something.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay,
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At least they don't have illumination.
yes, at least that's true. Okay, next item, 2P, 1686 Hamilton.
Good evening. My name is Donald J. Weaker. I'm the architect at HRH Design Group on behalf of 1686 and my client. I hope, in short, I hope the information that we provided tonight is complete and informative. In respect of the limited time given, I will make myself available to answer any questions you may have at this time.
So you got two home additions that are encroaching 10 feet and, 5 feet into the 16-foot westerly side yard setback. So in the way the house is laid out, you got a practical difficulty because of the lot and the current location of the house on the property.
Correct.
Is that about it? Okay. Any other questions? Open this up to the public. Anyone like to comment?
Yeah, good evening. My name is Kirk Brannick. I reside at 1642 Hamilton Drive, and I'm also the president of the Square Loc Association and a member of the Plans Review Board. Our association is supportive of this variance request. We do believe there's practical difficulty because of the grade, but also because of the size of the lot and the way the homes are aligned. Actually, the addition on the rear of the home, which is this addition, is actually further back than the current deck sits. So when you look at the sight lines of both neighbors, it doesn't impact either of the neighbors. Both of the neighbors have given their okay. So we're supportive of the variance request. We think it'll be a nice addition to the neighborhood. You can see the difference in the grade of the garage versus the side yard here. And so I believe there's practical difficulty, and I also believe that it would be a nice addition to the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. That's well done. Any other questions from the board? Open this to the public for comment. Close public hearing. Back to the board for motion.
Mr. Chairman, with regard to the request for dimensional variance at 1686 Hamilton Road, I would move that the dimensional variance be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant has demonstrated all of the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. You've got you do not have a rectangular lot, which is what the ordinance typically would be expecting. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors, and in fact, it seems to blend right in and actually improves the sightlines. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated because of topography and the lot configuration, neither of which is self-created. With that having been said, should this motion be approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
A motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it.
So we'll call the next item, 94 Manor Court, item 1.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Hart. I'm the architect for Jennifer and Chris Walsh. And Chris and his son Hunter are here this evening for moral support. Hunter and Chris, as I mentioned, are here. But this home, the existing home was built in 1950 prior to the current ordinance. It's on a unique site with a very steep slope going out to the east. It's unique in its shape and its topography. It drops by almost 20 feet. The cul-de-sac that provides access with this property and 3 others projects into the front yard, and there's a semicircular portion of that that creates kind of an odd-shaped front setback configuration that we're wrestling with, that we tried very hard to mitigate. The existing home is several feet from the adjacent properties, and in fact, it's I think you've got a map. Oh yes, good. We're almost 425 feet. Excuse me, 475 feet from the property directly to the east. We're 70 feet to the nearest home to the north, and 165 feet to the northeast on the corner of Manor Court and Manor, and 145 feet to the west. Directly south is 90 feet to the pool structure, and we're in a pretty isolated area. So the challenge is we want to keep the existing home in place entirely, and like I said, we were wrestling with that front setback, and we tried several iterations of the plan, and we came up with this configuration that we think is seamless and helps the existing house kind of turn into the new configuration that we're proposing. The plans are to build a second-story addition above the current home. Right on top of it, will not go further out beyond and any other of the setback requirements. They're adding a second garage, a new front portico, an expanded kitchen, and 3 bedrooms for the family upstairs. The encroachment is that we're proposing is 11 feet into the existing non-conforming configuration. It was not self-created. The construction, again, preceded the current ordinance, and strict compliance with the ordinance is we think is unduly burdensome, because it does not have any effect, and we think that the work and the approval will be a substantial justice to this owner and to the neighboring properties. It has no ill effects to the neighboring properties, and we're really trying to have as little impact on that area as we can. So I'm ready for any questions for you.
I wasn't in this one, but I was in the one across the street.
Okay. Do you want to share some history with that, Bob? So
I'm familiar with Manor Court.
thank you, Mr. Hart. That was very effective presentation. I think, to me, when I was going over with the staff, if you look in the upper left-hand side here, that front yard setback is really impacted by the sort of circular cutout in the upper left-hand corner. So that's one of the very unusual features about this. So that's really what makes it less than what it really is, and it's certainly a hardship, and that's unique. So any questions anybody has? Open this to public. Any comments? Close public hearing, bring it back for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion.
Thank you.
With regard to the dimensional variance at 94 Manor Court for the required front setback and expanding existing non-conforming structure, I move that the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the unique shape of this lot and that cutout that you just referenced. Additionally, there's no injustice to adjoining neighbors by reason that the orientation of this home and the lot is significantly further away from the neighbors. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the sloping topography and just the shape of the lot again, and it's not self-created due to the fact the home is already in existence. So, if approved, the motion must include all necessary permits to be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is
Thank you
granted.
very much.
Welcome. Calling the next item, item 2, 3485 Bradway.
Hi, my name is Annie Charters. I'm here with my husband, John Charters, and we're the homeowners at 3485 Bradway. We are seeking approval to install a generator on the east side of our house. We require the approval here because we need it to be 5 feet from the house rather than the 3 feet that's usually allowed. And the reason we need this is that the building code requires the generator to be 5 feet from doors or windows, and our home basically has doors and windows in every possible location around the house. So we propose to put it there. It will be screened both from the neighbor and the street with arborvitae, and we're not going to be encroaching into the setback at all. In fact, I think we have extra space, and we have already been approved by the village. Kathy couldn't be here tonight because they have their meeting at the same time. So if you have any questions, let me know.
And your screen is going to be the height of the
It'll
generator?
be just higher, I
Okay,
believe.
perfect. Just higher is great. Any other questions? Open this to the public. Anyone else like to comment? Close public hearing, bring it back for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, with regard, excuse me, with regard to the request for dimensional variance at Cataracts, 3485 Bradway Boulevard, I would motion that the approval be, that the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant has demonstrated all of the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because in fact it would create a health hazard because of its proximity to doors and windows. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors. It will be screened, and it has been approved by the Neighborhood Association, which is very strict. Unique circumstances of the property, again, have been demonstrated. We do have the need for the generator in the neighborhood, so to speak, and again, we have windows and doors that we need to be cognizant of, neither of which are self-created. With that having been said, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation. Also going to move that evergreen screening be planted as required and as was demonstrated in the presentation today.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted. Calling the next item, item 3, 120 North Williamsbury.
Hi, everybody. Theo Nittis, 120 North Williamsbury. We have almost the exact request as the previous one. Windows and doors all the way around the house. The code requires 36 inches. We would like to move it out to 60 inches to go on a concrete pad that is there. It's in the pictures that I submitted, excuse me. The village has already approved it. I'm happy to answer any questions about the layout. It actually is already screened, and that is the only side of our house it's sides maple, but we've planted extensive evergreens at the end of the fall. So
Did the approval from the village require any other screening? Were they satisfied with it?
Yes, it did.
Okay, so where is that going?
So if you go back to the last photo. Wait, what, so
Which one?
yeah, the screening right there, it's screened from Williamsbury by the arbs that are there in the front.
These?
Yeah, that's fine. And then, sorry.
Oh, the red one at the top, sorry.
Okay, so those are arbs right there that screen it from Williamsbury. The side, we're looking from Maple, and there are staggered spruces planted all along that. And then you can't see it from the other side because of that jut out. It's actually covered by the house.
Oh, so the village did not require any additional screening?
Oh, the ones, I'm sorry, these, we had to put those in.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
And then there's a bunch of evergreens right here, so you can't even see it from the
Okay.
front of Maple.
I'm clear, though. Any other questions? Open this to the public. Who would like to comment? Close the public hearing. We'll be back for discussion or a motion.
That's not what a police chase ended up in the front yard.
This one had a police chase in the front yard?
So,
Yes, actually, that's why.
This is why Bob's here.
Good memory.
remember that, yeah.
You know, it's funny that when we just did a big renovation, we were out of our house.
Kathy
for like
Parker was your
60
agent, I think.
What's that?
Kathy Parker was the real estate agent at the time.
Back then.
Yeah.
So this came up at the village
Yeah.
hearing for our renovation. Apparently what happened was there was a police chase and the car stopped about a foot from the gas meter, which was on the Maple side. So now our gas meter is on the Williamsbury side, which gave me some comfort until a much older neighbor was walking by one day and she said, no, actually the car sort of stopped more on the Williamsbury side. I'm like, oh, wow, great. But yeah, good memory.
Mr. Chairman, I'd be willing to make a motion.
Okay, go right ahead.
We did not live in the house then, by the way.
Okay. Well, this is the sizzle that we've come to expect from Bob at the meeting. We'll miss that.
Which will be sorely missed.
Yeah, sorely missed. Okay.
In regard to the appeal at 120 north of Williamsbury Road for the prescribed variance, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty, given the fact that the compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the layout of the windows and doors at the home. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the screening that has been prescribed. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the above circumstances, and that also applies to the fact that this has not been self-created as well. If this is approved, the motion should include application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation. The necessary evergreen plantings must be installed in order to assure screening the generator from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the generator at the time of planting.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted. Good luck.
Thank you.
And the next item, 1331 North Cranbrook Road.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Brian Bryce. I'm the owner at 1331 North Cranbrook. I'm standing before you to seek approval once again because I actually had this process completed some time ago. Before returning today, the village has also provided their approval, and I'm seeking to place the generator behind an existing pool house cabana that will infringe a bit, if you will, on the variance.
And why does it have to go there? Why is that location?
Why does, primarily because of the fact that the gas is in the front of the house. And if you go around, I'm also on the corner of Doorstone and Cranbrook. So technically I'm dealing with 2 front yards, even though it's a side yard. All the air conditioning units are already on the Doorstone side. And we actually had to go underground, and there's quite a large driveway behind there to get to that area behind the pool house. Really the only place it could go. Everything else around the house is surrounded with windows or existing pool deck, if you will, and patio.
And what's the screening you propose?
So, as you can see by that picture, to some degree, and actually behind the pool house as well, we've already planted quite large evergreens behind there when we did the project, and they've been replanted since. So ultimately, when the generator will go into the picture there, the view to the west, we'll plant, if needed, additional arborvitae behind it, but it's pretty well already screened off with the existing plantings.
So if the motion had a condition in that it's got to be screened from public view 12 months out of the year, you're going to comply with that? Because I would imagine the village has got that anyway.
Correct.
Okay.
And, you know, given the size of the lots are fairly large, my neighbor behind me is quite a ways away. They've also planted on their side as well. They have a generator. Both parties on each side of me have generators, but I understand, yeah, the issue. We don't want to look at it,
Well,
and
that's
we
the
don't want our
requirement.
neighbors
Okay.
looking at it.
Any other questions? Open this to the public. Anyone like to comment? Close public hearing, bring it back for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion, please. Let's see, with regard to the appeal at 1331 North Cranbrook Road for the proposed generator not immediately adjacent to the resident, yet adjacent to the pool house, I move that this variance be approved as requested, and based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the unique shape of the lot and the size of the lot. There's no injustice to adjoining neighbors by reason that this will be thoroughly screened as stated in Kathy's approval. Further unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given that there are multiple frontages and this is not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include all application for necessary permits to be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation. And it does state here additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the generator from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the generator at the time of planting.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Calling the next item. Item 53155, Bradway.
Hi, I'm Bill Sherman. I live at 3155 Bradway. This is the night of generators, I guess. I have a somewhat similar situation of I've lived in the house for 35 years, but when we bought it, windows all across the back, windows down the one side, and then the other side is directly against the driveway. So our only choice is on the generator appears to be the same choice they made probably 50 years ago when they put the air conditioning unit in. They put it right on the corner of the house and then blocked it off with a brick wall in front and down both sides of the air conditioning unit and extended that wall well beyond the air conditioning unit. So our proposal is to stack the generator behind 3 feet from the air conditioner unit. That puts it about 7 feet from the house, which is one of the variances. And then on the side yard, instead of 10 feet, it's 9 feet from the property line. The good news is it's the driveway side of the property next door. She's looked at it, the village approved it. There's already a row of evergreens, there's a row of hydrangeas, and on one of these you'll see we're gonna add probably 2 or 3 more evergreens if need be to completely cover it from any sight line from the street or next door.
Any questions from the board? Open this to the public. Anyone like to comment? Close public hearing, bring it back to the board for discussion or a motion.
I'd like to make a motion.
Go right
In
ahead.
regard to the appeal at 3155 South Bradway Boulevard for the generator placement, I move the variance be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the amount of windows and doors that are in proximity to this unit. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact that it will be screened 12 months out of the year. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated based on the information above, and this has not been self-created. If approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to installation. Additional evergreen plantings shall be required to screen the generator from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the generator at the time of planting.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Calling the next item, item 63571 Berkshire.
Okay, it's Mike and Susan Smith, and we are the residents at 3571 Berkshire Drive. And our backyard is currently fenced in with a 3-foot-high vinyl fence on the 2 sides and a chain link fence along the back. And what we are requesting is to replace the vinyl fence with a 4-foot-high ornamental fence, bronze colored. The chain link fence is only 3 foot high. I mean, not the chain link, the white vinyl fence is only 3 foot high and has a tendency to get coated with green algae periodically, and I have to scrub it down. So by replacing it with the 4 foot high ornamental fence, we would be in compliance with the 4 foot high. The fence would be exactly the same as my neighbor on the west side. I have filled out an application for the HOA, and it has been approved through the HOA. I have letters from neighbors on both sides saying that they are aware of the project, that they have no objections to it, and that the current screening is satisfactory as far as they are concerned. I have letters from the 2 neighbors behind us where the fence would tie into the chain link fence, saying that they have no objection to changing out the vinyl fence with the ornamental fence. And what was I going to say?
It looks pretty, but let me tell you, it's a pain to keep up.
I think we understand your...
Oh, I know what I was to say.
Okay.
Is part of the reason we want to do this is for dog containment. Now, if you could see on that fence, I've had to put some green plastic mesh over the fence because the dog, when we got it, was small enough that it was going through.
It's a cavapoo.
Yeah, it's a cavapoo. And now that she's gotten bigger, she's about 32 pounds now, she's gotten bigger to the point that she has learned how to use the bottom rail and the top rail to get herself up over the fence, which she's done about 3 or 4 times.
I think if you make a video, you could make some money with that.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I mean, she's a lovely dog. She loves people. She loves animals. That's part of the problem, why she's gone over the fence. Because she sees people that she knows or a dog that she knows from the neighborhood, and she wants to be out there with them. So that is what has happened. And in fact, one time she was in the backyard and I was going out to bring my trash can back in after it had been emptied. And because she saw me out there and wanted to be with me, she jumped over the fence and came out by the road. And of course, we don't want her get hit, and I'm not really worried about her biting anybody as far as that's concerned. All of our neighbors around us either have dogs or have had dogs currently. And like I said, they have no objection to us replacing the vinyl fence with the ornamental fence.
So I think you've come up with a wonderful plan. So does anyone on the board have any questions? So does anyone?
The only question I had was to make sure that I understood. This is actually going to replace, this is actually being installed where the current fence is. You're not moving it in or out or anything.
No, exactly.
Just replacing what you got.
Right.
With something that'll work better.
Right. It's going to be in the same location.
Okay.
The only other difference is that right now we've got one gate on the west side of the house to go into the backyard, with the new gate or fence that we want to put up, there'll be 2 gates, one on each side of the house to go into the backyard.
Okay, very good. So any other questions? So I'd like to open this up to the public. Anyone like to comment? Looks like, did you want to comment, sir? Okay. So I'll close the public hearing, and the staff asked me to recognize you for all the work that you did with your neighbors. It really was exceptional getting some of the approvals that you got.
Oh, the approvals?
Yeah, and you really explained this quite nicely. So the staff has asked me to give you the first ever Chairman's Award for being a good neighbor. So it doesn't come with anything, but with whatever powers invested in me, I get it. And it sounds like you're an exceptional dog owner. You really care for your dog. So
We do.
all right. So
We're animal lovers, really.
Why don't we wait and see if we're going to approve this first?
okay, that's true.
I mean, if we turned him down and gave him the award, that wouldn't be quite,
Okay.
that wouldn't be very cool.
All right. Well. All right.
With that having been said,
Yeah, okay, let's make the motion, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, if I might, please make a motion for the permission request for dimensional variance at 3571 Berkshire Drive. Permission request first. I would move that the permission request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all compliance with section 7.6 standards. The use of the accessory structure is appropriate for the neighborhood. In fact, it's replacing an existing structure, and because of its color will be even less visible than the one that currently is on the property. With that having been said, and moving on to the dimensional variance, I would move that it also be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all of the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. Again, we're doing maintenance, replacement, and effective use of something that's already on the property. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors, and again, as I mentioned, it will be less visible than what currently is there. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated. We got a smart dog. And that certainly was not self-created. I am certain they did not train the dog to do that.
Oh.
With that having been said, in the event this motion is approved, application for all permits must be made prior to construction, and I don't believe we need evergreen screening for this. Again, it's going to be less visible than what's currently there.
Support.
Motion, support, any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request.
Thank you. Thank you.
Calling next item 7, 5015 Brookdale.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Richard Hodek from Grissom Metz Andrews Associates, representing the client. This is a project that's already been approved for the site itself. They came back during the summer, decided that they would like to look at putting just a pergola structure into the backyard between the pickleball basketball court and the pool. We had enough room in there. I don't know if you want to. So it's a Meadowbrook aluminum structure, has louvers that are adjustable. It's as simple as what you're seeing there. It has the color. I brought a sample of the metal. Matches very well with the existing structure of the house. One of the things I noticed was that in the write-up here, it talks about was that it was with a gas fireplace and kitchenette. I think that may have been copied and maybe from the first request, but that's not the case at all. We don't have that anywhere listed in our application, so it's just a furniture.
Your wife made a phone call and said that she.
So yeah, I just wanted to make that clear that that was not being. We already have a kitchenette. There's already a area in the back of the house, so really
It's just for the pergola.
All we're looking for is to put the pergola, the pavers.
Yep. Got it.
The pavers are already installed. It's going to be just a simple structure for them to have screening when they're out there.
That's an amazing street for some amazing homes. Any questions from the board? Open this to the public. Anyone like to comment? Close the public hearing. We'll be back for motion.
Mr. Chair, I can make a motion?
Okay.
In regard to the appeal at 5015 Brookdale Road, for accessory structure, I move the request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards. Because the locations of the accessory structure will not hinder or discourage the adjacent use of the property due to the fact that it's kind of nestled in between the basketball, pickleball court, and the pool. If approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen the pergola from public view and must meet or exceed the height of the pergola at the time of planting.
And we have there's actually a current hedge that goes around there, so I don't think you'll be able to see that at all from the road. That's so far back.
So do we have a motion in support?
Support. Yep.
So all I'm saying is, I think for the use this is, I don't know that, I don't know how you guys feel. It doesn't really need screening to me, but I don't know if it's.
I would agree. Pergolas typically are an attractive architectural feature for a property. And
Typically, we don't screen them.
over time, they tend to have stuff grow up them anyway, so. Yep. You're all set.
Okay, motion in support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Request is granted.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Good night.
calling the next item. 5510 Foreman.
Good evening. I'm Steve Cohen. I'm the owner, the homeowner at 5510 Foreman. And what we have is we have a pool with a very long fence going around it. And we built these 4 square piers at the corners and also where there's a gate in the middle. The idea being to shore up a very long run of the fence, make it solid, and since we wanted to shore it up, we wanted to make it attractive as well, so we made a pier. I believe the variance is required because it's more than 5 feet high. I think it's about 6 inches higher than the fence. The fence is required to be about, well, it says 6.5 feet, but the fence is required to be about 5 feet high because it's a pool fence. And then in order to attach it to the pier has to be, slightly taller. So it's, to the cap, it looks like it's about 3 or 4 inches taller. So I think it was, at least it was suggested to me by the fence contractor that it was helpful or necessary to shore up that long run. I think it looks good. We have one neighbor to the south, and I have a letter, she approved of it. The association approved of it. I have that letter as well. And what happened was I'm going to throw my contractor under the bus a little bit.
Okay, this is the good part. Good, okay.
Oh, okay. I'm sure you're interested in why.
Well, yeah, how did this get built? How did this get built? So what's your explanation of how it got built?
Sure. I think the very first building application, permit application was for the fence. I think that my fence contractor filed it even before the pool application was filed, well before we finalized any of the designs. Sometime later, when we got around to designing it and quoting it, the piers are in the quote, and I have that as well. The piers are in the original quote for the fencing. My contractor did not amend the permit to show the piers. Otherwise, we would have had this discussion then. I'm throwing him under the bus a little bit, but also he had a very serious health condition in the interim. So I didn't know about any of this at the time, but it's possible that he overlooked it because he had a very serious health condition. So I'm not sure if he's doing all that well now. That's why I'm here and he's not here. I tried to get him to come here and he was not available. So I am asking for the variance, apologize for not getting the permit in order beforehand and having this done then. But I think it's aesthetically pleasing. I know that it's functional and I don't think it's any taller than it needs to be to secure the top of the fence, in my opinion at least.
The issue becomes the illumination.
Okay, so I just, because I asked the staff about this, because I think these dimensions are, Important. The height to the top of the post would say 5 feet 2 inches, 62 inches. And then the size of the light, 20 inches? So to the...
18, I think, but yeah, close enough. If that's what your measurements are,
So the
then
distance to
that
the top of the
works.
light's about, I guess, use your 80 inches or 82 inches? Approximately.
6.5 feet, 78 to 80 inches, yes.
Okay, all right, so, that's high for us, particularly around a pool. And then the illumination, you got a very tough argument for that. Typically, we don't approve illuminated piers, certainly not in this location. I think there's some mitigating factors, the size of the lot and where it's at there, but if you'd come to us, I think at the start, I'm kind of talking to everybody here, I don't think we would have approved the lights. So would you be able to live without the lights? Could we take the lights off maybe?
I have to live with whatever you approve or don't approve. I only have one neighbor to the south.
Yeah, that's a mitigating factor, sure is.
She's, and it's very private. She has very large trees. She can't even see.
You got a nice big lot? Yep.
Yeah, so 55, what am I looking at? 5530, and you can see all the trees there to the south of my lot line. So it doesn't bother her.
What about screening it? I mean, if you really want the lights, would you put screening? I'm throwing out options here.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll do whatever's necessary. I'm not.
How important are the lights to you? I'm trying to find out.
They're fairly important. I would like to keep them.
Okay.
There's no neighbor, there are no other neighbors, and it's private all the way around. You can't see it from the front. You can't see it from the road. There's all kinds of screening.
So why don't I open up to the public? We'll see if anyone wants to comment, and then maybe we can talk as a board. Okay, so I'll open up the public hearing. Anyone like to comment on this item? No one. Let's close it. So I think everybody understands. So how do you guys feel about the lights?
One of the solutions could be a limit on the power of the lighting itself, the number of lumens. You could reduce that significantly. The concern that you have is light pollution. If you had a 40-watt equivalent maximum per lamp, that might be sufficient.
If you were approving this prior, we would recommend like downlighting.
If we were approving this prior, we would have at best allowed downward lighting, but
At a
not
lower level.
Yeah, but not what we currently have.
Could I address the illumination issue? The glass is darkened. They're not very bright. If we're talking about 40 watts, that's probably about what it is. It's nowhere near 60 or 75 or 100. It's very low light. And there's no one around to see it. It's all empty lots.
That's a mitigating factor.
Yeah. Okay. But not enough, probably. But,
Well,
yeah.
we're just,
Time restriction on illumination?
that's another option. Screening.
I mean, part of the problem that I see is that if you take, and I'm not defending the fact that it was put in, but if you take that off, however you seal it is going to eventually create problems with freezing and thawing, and that'll deteriorate the pillar far more rapidly than naturally would be the case. You leave the lamp up there. It at least creates a somewhat more effective seal, especially if you use silicone at the base. They're big lots up there.
Yes, it's a big lot.
So again, if
Any other
this was
opinions on
coming
it?
before us, I think we'd think differently, but.
Somebody want to make a motion so we can discuss it? I mean, that is a mitigating factor. but-
Talk to me, Andrea.
Well, every time we've had a light like this, we recommend downlighting and
Downlighting, we
something
don't
shorter.
approve it, yeah.
I mean, I can understand your point, and so you're trying to say like the mitigating factor is a larger lot.
Well,
It's pretty well screened from what's available there, but we also require that applicants screen their own.
Correct,
So
yeah,
I'm
and
a
the
little-
other thing is.
I guess I'm a little torn.
I am too, I'm
To
like
be
right
reasonable.
on
Well,
and
then
that's consistent.
Like a seesaw.
our standard typically has been that if this were being constructed, what would we approve?
Right. I wouldn't approve it. Yeah.
Well, then I think that answers the question.
And could I just mention one other thing? We have lights on the home. The lights on the home, adjacent to that over the garage and in the front and in the back, they throw off much more illumination than these 4 very small lights. So I can't imagine that it even adds to the illumination load that's already existing. And it's
Which
did you pick that
questions
kind of
the
light?
functionality.
just because it looks good.
Would you consider something that's lower and downlighting?
I'll consider anything that this. Yeah.
I'm just kind of verbalizing what the rest of our,
And I hear you. I hear the objection. I am hoping to keep the lights. That's my hope. I have to do whatever you tell me to do, but it's not. If illumination is the issue, my only neighbor is very well screened and has zero objection, and I have that. I have that in writing.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, but there's
you know,
no.
If we had an applicant just like yourself that was doing it beforehand, we would still say that we would highly not be in support of lighting on piers like that. And there are other people, anyway.
But it's much
I'm
safer.
gonna divert to the board.
Yeah,
that
it's
I
much
shouldn't
safer to have illumination around the pool. Why wouldn't we want to have some illumination around the?
That assumes that it's going to be on all night.
No, you know, in the summer it doesn't get dark until 9 o'clock, so we're talking about maybe having it on for an hour or so during the peak summer hours. And there's no one around. There's an empty lot. 5515 is an empty lot. There's 5530 is quite, 40, 50 feet away.
Maple.
And there's no other neighbor. No one's complaining about it.
Are the lights on a timer where they go off at 10 o'clock at night?
No, to be honest, I only use them if we're out there late, after 10 o'clock or 9:30 in the summer, probably 5 or 6 times. If you told me you couldn't live with the lights, I'd want to leave them up and not use them rather than sort of
Take them down.
rather than take them down. I wouldn't use them. I would disconnect them or whatever.
The variance itself is not the illumination. The variance is the height. The height doesn't go away by not using the light.
True. The height has to be just a little bit higher than the fence in order to shore it up. You wouldn't be able to connect it to anything unless it was at least as high as the fence. And I apologize for not running this by you all 2 years ago. It's been in place now for 3 summers. And there's
No one's complaining about it. It's on Maple.
no, Lillian is fine with it. There's nobody else anywhere near.
So I initially was not really in favor of this. I'm okay with it now. So I don't know if that helps the rest of you. I can't make a motion, but I think,
Why did you change your mind?
well, because of as I said, there's a mitigating factor, the size of the lot, and it's by Maple. And I do think, you take the light off, you got problems. I'm okay with it.
Not using the light doesn't solve the problem.
No.
It's the height.
It's the height of it,
It's
but-
the height of the light that's the problem.
But I distinguish it in other cases with,
I'd be willing to make a motion.
okay.
Okay. In regard to the appeal at 5510 Foreman Drive for the accessory structure, I move that be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the use of the accessory structure is appropriate to the neighborhood, given the homeowner association approval that the applicant has presented. Also, the location of the illuminated piers, although we're not fans of those, will not hinder or discourage the adjacent use of the property due to their location in the rear yard and also the degree of covering or
Size of the lot,
the size of the lot.
it's adjacent
yes.
to Maple.
So if this is approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year of construction, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. Additional evergreen plantings may be required, although I don't see a need for it based on what's been presented. But the screening must be of a nature that it does screen the piers from public view and must meet or exceed the height of those structures at the time of planting.
Time use? What do you think? Time use, what do you think? Hour after sunset?
And usage of the lights must be limited to no later than 10 p.m.?
Well, in the winter.
Hour after sunset.
Hour after sunset
after
would make more
sunset,
sense.
okay.
Yeah. That's,
Okay.
So I have a motion.
second.
I have support. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Any opposed? Okay, so did you
Thank you very much.
understand the motion? You know what you can do and can't do with your amazing lights now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I can use them until 1 hour after sunset.
Okay.
And I'll apply for the proper permits. And it's already screened from all views. So I think I'm in compliance
So
with
that's
that.
in there. If someone complains later or something, maybe you're gonna have to screen it.
Absolutely.
So you're saying, we're taking your word for it, but that's in there. So if somebody goes, hey, new neighbor moves in, you're gonna have to screen it.
If
Fair
in
enough.
doubt, give
So
us
I
a
think you
shout.
got a great result here.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You went to bat for me. Thank you.
No, I didn't go.
You convinced Ms.
Okay.
O'Donnell.
December. You're lucky it's December. So.
All right. Thank you very much,
All right,
everybody.
you're
Sorry
welcome. Okay.
for taking so
You got a
long.
great result.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, happy New Year.
Take care.
Number 9, 5180 Franklin.
Good evening. My name is John Gumma. We're here seeking a variance for our non-illuminated piers.
That's a great start. Nicely
So
done.
it's kind of a unique situation here. Rather than when you're pulling out of the garage, this is a new construction residence. When you're pulling out of the garage, rather than putting a curb that really can't stop a car in a sense, so we decided to put some piers in and a decorative fencing because the grade falls very heavily there. So we plateaued the grading with a retaining wall. So that's really it. It's just a decorative iron aluminum fence with the retaining wall pavers. Again,
And these are on both sides of the driveway?
Well, no. On the
one side with the grade?
On the south side is an additional parking, and that's the same situation, same scenario there. And on the north side is where the garage is. There you go.
How tall are they?
They're right there. They're 3.5-ish overall height.
And then what's the distance between, the ground there and then the surface that the pier is
grade?
sitting? Yeah, the grade there.
4-ish feet?
4 feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 or 4.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah, so rather than putting a curb, we originally had, just, if it's on a snowy day or it just didn't feel safe.
Right. Yeah, for safety.
So we put some piers, instead of having just a long black fence, we broke it up with some piers for more stability and just be decorative.
And then I think it would be a safety thing, as Bob was saying, if there's ever, in the winter, if you're sliding,
It's
and
right
then
in-
if you're going
yeah.
down 4 feet, that's kind of a safety feature.
Correct.
Okay.
So this is new construction.
Yes.
Is there a reason why we're talking about existing piers, and was there a reason why?
So we assumed that we were outside of our setbacks, which we are, but one of the building officials was there for an inspection and saw them and seen them and said, you need to go for a variance for this, and that's why we're here.
Any other questions?
Non-illuminated.
Yeah. It's very, you said that.
It's the height. So it says it's 4.5 feet, but.
Yeah.
I think with the fence, it's 4.5, but the piers, I believe, are 3.5-ish.
Oh.
So the
piers are
fence is
shorter.
the fence is going to be.
Piers are shorter.
Yeah.
Yes, the piers are
Okay,
short.
I misunderstood that.
And the fence is going to go in between each of the piers and safety. Okay, so I'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on it? Close public hearing. Thank you for your patient explanation.
No problem.
Anyone like to make a motion?
Yeah. Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, with regard to the permission request and request for dimensional variance at 5180 Franklin Road, permission request first, I would move that the permission request be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant has demonstrated compliance with Section 42-7.6 standards The location of the accessory structure will not hinder or discourage the use of adjacent property. In fact, providing a safety feature should somebody be concerned, this would actually be a mitigating factor and an improvement than the safety hazard that I think we would have otherwise been facing. And with regard to the I'm tired. With regard to the dimensional variance, I would move that the dimensional variance be approved as requested as well. Based on the information presented, the applicant has demonstrated all the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome and in fact would create a safety hazard for residents and neighbors. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors, and in fact, this is an asset to the community because it will reduce a hazard. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated because of the topography that impacts the driveway, which certainly was not self-created. With that having been said, if the motion is approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 5 years for the existing non-illuminated piers.
Business days.
Pardon?
5 business days?
5 business days, my apologies. Need glasses. 5 business days for the existing non-illuminated piers. Now you know I am retiring. Application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year for the proposed fencing in the front yard, and all permits obtained prior to installation. Additional evergreen screening, in my opinion, is at this point not necessary.
Support. So I have a motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations.
Thank you.
The request is granted.
Good luck, Robert.
Calling item 10, 5381 Deepwood.
Good evening. I'm Ben Templeton from Templeton Building Company. I'm here on behalf of the homeowners at 5381 Deepwood. We are not seeking approval for illuminated piers. We have non-illuminated piers, just FYI.
I think we're getting a pattern tonight. That's good.
We are seeking approval, though, for 2 vinyl fences in lieu of green screening. The first vinyl fence that you see here is on the front of the home, which will screen the generator and pool equipment. We have a white vinyl fence that goes across. We don't have the room between the section of the home and the driveway to be able to plant green screening. That's why we're seeking approval for the white vinyl fence. We do have the 2 piers there. We thought for the neighborhood that would be more fitting than a 4x4 vinyl post. Those will be brick pillars to match the house, painted to match as well. And then we're also seeking vinyl fence on the rear side of the home to screen an air conditioner. And in that location, we don't have the space again because of an egress window and a entry into the home. So we're seeking approval for a vinyl fence in that location as well.
Can you show the view from the street? Because I remember I had a hard time understanding it. So in the lower right there, because I was asking if you can't screen the fence because it's abutting the driveway, and you're using the fence to screen the mechanicals.
We're using the fence to screen the mechanicals, and it's right on the driveway. We have.
So there's no other way to screen it than with a fence.
Correct.
Yep. Okay.
The fence will actually be on the concrete driveway.
Yep. Maybe I got any questions. So you kind of understand why he's got the fence, and you're not going to be able to screen it from public view because it's on the driveway.
There's some information here. Did you read it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think that it's important?
Do you want to read it? Your questions?
I think that, is it a material that is acceptable to the neighborhood?
We do have approval from the neighborhood association.
Okay, great.
Any other questions? Open this to the public, like a comment? Close public hearing, bring it back for a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'll take this one. With regard to the permission request at 5381 Deepwood Road for the proposed illuminated, they're not illuminated.
Non-illuminated.
Non-illuminated.
Non with a capital non.
Non-illuminated, that's not what it does, but here we go. I move for the request to be approved as submitted. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the use of the accessory structure is appropriate to the neighborhood, being that it is non-illuminated. Further, the dimensional variance approval with regard to the appeal at the same address for the proposed accessory structures located in the side yard for fencing in lieu of evergreen screening for ground-mounted mechanical units and located in the side yard. So for that variance, I move that it be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the shape of the lot and the location of the driveway. There is no injustice to adjoining neighbors by reason that this is screened properly and mechanicals will not be viewed by anybody in the public. Further, unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given that the location of the house is existing, making it a little bit of a cramped area, and that is not self-created. So if approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year and all permits to be obtained prior to construction.
Support. Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Okay. Calling the next item. 718 Browning Court.
All right, good evening. My name is Jamie McAleer. I'm here with my husband Matt, and we're the homeowners at 718 Browning Court, which is in the Willieson subdivision. We are requesting a natural setback feature variance to replace a deck. In this case, it's the upper deck. The ordinance calls for a 25-foot setback. However, we are requesting a 21-foot variance. The reason for our request is because our house was built in the 80s. The pond is existing as well. We do share the pond with one additional neighbor who has given their approval. We're actually improving the setback. The current decking actually has an average of 12 feet from the pond. So we're moving it 21 foot away. So it will improve the overall setback. And we do not have a homeowners association, but we did secure our immediate neighbors' approval as well as approval of 17 of the 21 homes that are in the subdivision.
So when I was going through this, could you just sort of clarify? So can we go to the picture, the outside picture with, okay. So that's the existing
That's the
deck.
existing
So you got an
deck,
upper
yes.
level and lower level. So you're improving it. So is that most lower level there not going to be replaced in the same place?
No, the lower level is not going to be replaced. We're actually going to take that down and we're going to landscape that area. So the landscape will just be more natural. That's step 2 of our, or phase 2 of our project.
Okay, so it's just
There will be no more additional decking.
Okay,
The
so it's
second
just
level
the
deck is
upper
only
deck
deck.
that's being rebuilt and that's,
Correct.
okay, got it. All right. Any other questions?
So instead of a lower deck intruding more into the natural feature setback, the lower deck is being removed and the upper deck is going to be reduced as well, as far as its distance to the pond.
The upper deck is going to actually stay the same. Right now, it kind of jets
Okay.
in, so it's going to be taken out. So the maximum depth of the deck on the second story is going to be anywhere from 10 to 14 feet, which is very similar, but not exactly the same as it is right now.
This decreases this is a decrease from the existing variance.
Yep. Got it. It's crystal clear now. I'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment? Those public can bring it back for a motion.
Well, what, just because I'm not going to be here next year? All right.
You know, there's so many jokes I could make here about hitting it out of the park because of the upper deck.
All right, let me, well, then.
So you can hit a home run with this motion.
I can't do that.
Yeah, you can do that.
All right,
Home
no, I
run.
don't, no, anyway.
Upper deck, lower
I'm
deck.
going to, Mr. Chairman, with regard to the request for dimensional variance at 718 Browning Court, I would move that the dimensional variance be approved as requested based on the information. The applicant has demonstrated all of the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome, and in fact, this request reduces the existing footprint of the lower, eliminates the existing footprint of the lower deck, and does not increase the variance based on the upper deck. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors. Again, this is an improvement versus what currently exists. Unique circumstances of the property are such, we do have a pond in the back. We need to be careful, we need to be cognizant of that, and they are going to be, again, reducing the encroachment. And then they didn't create the pond in the back, so that's certainly not self-created. With that having been said, application, in the event the motion is approved, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be made prior to construction.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
Smart move, saying the one.
So calling item 12?
Item 12?
Yeah.
Item 12?
Hi.
2761 Turtle Lake.
My name is Ryan. I'm the homeowner. My family and I purchased the home in the summer of 22 under construction. This year we hired a landscaper to complete the work, and in the process of cleaning up the backyard and cleaning out weeds and grade, they matched the landscaping and how it abutted the cattails and on the two sides of our property. And so when we then pursued did the final survey, noticed the encroachment, and so that's why we're seeking a variance. But we're looking to, again, just match the landscaping on either side of our property.
So my understanding was this is an after the fact approval, that you've already done the work, and
in the picture you'll see the bottom right, that is the looking into the distance, you start to see our neighbor's grass, but yes, that was at about where the dip goes down to meet the cattails was just weeds and debris, not cattails. And again, our landscaper was a little bit exuberant and just matched that grass. And then where the photographer is standing would be at our neighbor's property, and so it's matching their landscaping on the side to the south of us as well.
Right. But we're not approving this for any future work, it's for work that's already been done.
Correct.
Because I was just saying, if we didn't grant this motion, this work's already been done, so it's...
I mean, we could pull out the sod and...
No. I'm just, I'm asking, because that's just my nature, is that I ask more questions than I need to. But, so we're going to approve this because the work's done, we're good. So, open this to the public hearing. Anything you'd like to comment? Close public hearing. So we're going to approve this.
Really?
Well, yeah, because the work's already been done. I mean,
Come on, Brian. All right. Done?
I'm done.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm not done.
I'll do it. So, in regards to the appeal at 2761 Turtle Lake Drive, regarding the dimensional variance, I move the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all of the standards for practical difficulty. Given that compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome, given the fact that all he's doing is really filling in with grass the landscaping that was already there. There was no additional encroachment on the cattails or anything like that. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact that he only, once again, covered the existing grading with the grass. And unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the aforementioned facts. And It's not self-created different, given that the grading was already there and we simply applied grass to that grading. If this is approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits must be made within 5 business days for the existing encroachment into the natural feature setback.
Support.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, the request is granted.
Thank you.
Calling item 132816, Turtle Grove.
Good evening. I am Matt Olajarczyk with Motor City Landscaping, representing for Novara residents at 2816 Turtle Grove Court. These plans have been submitted and approved by the HOA over at Turtle Lake, and we are submitting for, actually this first line item, the pool cabana. The dimensions are incorrect on the overhead in the printout here. The pool cabana, the actual dimensions, which are on page 8, but we're, do you want me to go down the entire list, or do you want me to just start line item by line item going through it?
If you could help us understand any deviation, what's
Yeah, so what's the difference?
shown here?
So with our paperwork we submitted, that if you can go to page 8.
Page 8?
Correct.
I don't have a page 8.
Okay, wait, go back one. Right there.
So the dimensions are,
What's the height of the?
what's the height?
The height of the pool house or pergola is 12'6" roof.
So it wouldn't be a variance.
Correct.
Overnoticed on.
And the actual dimension of it is 15 by 20. So, and I have a snapshot of what we turned in, and I'm not sure how the dimensions came off, but it's 15 by 20 with a 12'6" roof line.
So from the township's perspective, there's no variance there relative to the cabana?
Correct. Not the height, but just permission.
Okay.
That's the first line item. The second line item is a 60-foot by 30-foot sports court with a 10-foot high barrier or fence around it for ball containment. The next up is a proposed pool, which is 16-foot by 34-foot with an 8-foot by 10-foot ground level spa. Next item is a 4-foot high fence. Next item is a 20-foot by 18-foot by 10-foot high pergola. And then we have two 2-foot by 4-foot high illuminated piers. And then we have a 9-foot by 3-foot by 10-foot high arbor located on the east side of the rear yard. So if you can go to the very first page. Thank you so much, appreciate that. Everything's pretty much spelled out there as far as where it's at. If you could go to page 2.
I don't have the.
You don't have what I have? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
I apologize. So we'll just start here. This is the overhead rose arbor, which is off the driveway, and then that is the pier with the height stipulated there. My eyes aren't that good, but the overall height of that pier with the light is 4 foot total in height.
I'm orient me. Where is that pier located on the property?
Here, how about you use this pointer?
Yeah,
just
use
to
the
press
pointer
that button
to
and
show
show them where everything's at.
Okay.
How interested we are in illuminated pier.
Oh, you guys love the illuminated piers. They are right here and right here.
Okay.
In the back portion. And we have a lot of screening going on here because this neighbor adjacent over here already put a sports court in, which is actually like right up against this area here. So we are doing heavy screening through here and heavy screening through here. Obviously privacy through this entire backyard. We don't want the neighbors.
So will the screening be to the height of all the structures that are screened?
Well, this structure right here is 12 foot. So along here, we're going to try to put in 12 to 13 foot evergreens. So we have large evergreens in the screening right now.
So when you say you're going to try, does that mean you're going to do it? 'Cause that's
Well, so actually, what's going on right now is that there's a shortage of evergreens. So we're trying to purchase as large of evergreens as we can.
Okay.
Believe it or not, we've had a struggle this last year to purchase 12, 14, 16s trees of that size. So we're continuously looking for them.
we
So
require. I can just tell you about a number of things people are building. We're taking up a lot of trees here.
you know what? That's a good thing, though. Plant a tree and grow a tree. That's a good thing. But you know. With my plan, the bigger the better, the more screening, absolutely.
That's what's I've said that a couple times today. That's our requirement. So.
Oh, absolutely. We want to be 12, 14 foot with these larger evergreens coming along here. And then we're also doing another screen line with a smaller arborvitae. So we're really trying to double up the evergreen so we get that privacy. The pool, which is right here, so the pool's actually, you know, we don't have a lot of room for the pool where it's going in because there is a drainage easement that runs through the back property, like right along here.
Wow.
So this pool is that's the only place they could put a pool in their backyard due to it's a drainage easement that's private through the developer. It's not, so anyways, this has already been approved via the Turtle Lake Association with the drainage easement in this area. This is the actual pool house or pavilion that we're looking to put in with that roof line to be that 12'6", and it's the back right corner. And then we're also proposing a pergola area for dining.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? We'll open this to the public. Anyone like to comment on this item? Close public hearing. Bring it back for further discussion, questions, motion. So this has been approved by the Victor International. So that's a plus.
That is a plus. All right, Mr. Chairman, with regard to the permission request and request for dimensional variance at 2816 Turtle Grove Court, I would move that the permission request be considered first and that it be approved as submitted based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards. The accessory structures that we're looking at will not hinder the use of adjoining property because of their use. And then I would go on to move that the dimensional variance be approved as requested as well. Based on the information presented, the applicant has demonstrated all of the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome. We do have two front yards, if I'm seeing the map correctly, which means we have no rear yard, which creates a practical difficulty. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the uses that are being presented. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated. We have both topography and dual frontages that come into play, and neither of those, of course, are self-created. With that having been said, in the event the motion is approved, all necessary permits must be made. Application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction. Additional evergreen screening is going to be required to screen the structures and fence from public view, and they must meet or exceed the height of the structures at the time of planting. We will also need a single-family affidavit to be on file with the township for the pool cabana.
Support. Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening.
Okay, thank you. Calling item 14, 5320, Clarendon Crest.
Hello, board. Anthony Sheena, Sapphire Luxury Homes Landscaping. Requesting a variance for.
Do you want to do this?
Yeah, please. The height of the retaining walls.
Over here?
Sure. So I'm at the city quite often. I present them landscape plans preliminarily just to say, hey, is there something on this plan that could possibly need a variance or addressing? So we looked at this one. You can't see it here, but there were a few things. We addressed them. I'm like, all right, cool. There's nothing that we really need to change. So then I submitted the site plan, and the site plan was also approved, which is right here. But when we actually started construction, the building official came out and after the construction of the walls and certain retaining walls, the building official said, this might need to go to ZBA. And we're like, all right. So we went out there and I said, so are we gonna stop construction? He's like, no, just continue with the construction. So we finished it, I mean, at least the retaining wall portion of it. And so now I'm just gonna walk you through what happened. So this is the site plan. The wall in question is the bottom, yeah.
If you want to use a pointer,
Yeah,
you can just
sure.
hit the red.
Right. The wall in question is right here, shaded in green. So I'll walk you through the property, and this is the pool right here. This is an existing pool. And this is an existing sport court. So this landscaping was worked around what was currently here. So this is from Clarendon Crest looking towards that pool. And the picture to the right is walking up closer, and you can see how high we are above the adjacent home in the distance. So it's a severe drop from the edge of the pool down to that driveway. So let me see what the next grouping is. So now this is even walking even closer. So if I go back, assume we're walking towards the house, this is the picture to the left. That's the first retaining wall, then it's a plateau, and we get to the next retaining wall. So, and the picture to the right is me stepping back and looking down the line. And you'll see that the retaining wall is 2 feet here. But, and if you pay attention to this bush right here, I'm gonna walk down the line. Oops, sorry. Okay, I just did this, another one, okay. So here's that same bush right here. So now you see the retaining wall is increasing in height because it starts to go, the slope is pretty severe as it goes towards Franklin Road. And I put these pictures, I put this, Andrea, how do I expand this here?
Expand what?
I can't do that, can I? That's all right. Each line is 1 foot.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
you guys can see, I drew lines there. So
You
just
gave
can
us a
see.
little guide.
Little guide, just so you know. So, and I'll just keep going. This one here.
So we can see the actual height.
Yeah.
Rather than guess. Okay.
No guessing here. This is also down the line. I'm standing in the neighbor's driveway looking down. The house is to the left. I'll go down again. Now, this is the pool is right there, up on top of this right here. So you can see the slope as it comes down the side of the house. And the picture to the right is me panning to the left and taking the picture, and then you can see the walls right here. And this is a view towards in the opposite direction. So you can see the wall is right here. Here's the pool right here, and we put this wall here for safety, an existing pool. Again, I have to reiterate that. And this plateau, and then just a 2-foot retaining wall. But as we come down the line, it just starts increasing in slope. And so, building official, who we deal with a lot, came out there. He's like, you got a really good argument for a variance here. So I said, okay, we'll take it to the board. And this is after construction. So we're trying to figure out a way that we can get this to work. I think it's actually safer for the adjacent neighbor.
Oh, yeah. So thank you for that very helpful explanation. The background was good. You kind of, sounds like you made the attempt to see if you need it. I'm just surprised somebody, prior to this didn't say, hey, you're probably going to need a variance for the retaining walls because of the change in the grade there, which is significant, and it's close to there's already another retaining wall that the neighbors got. So there's a lot of work there, and certainly a lot of stone to try and make it safe. Any questions from the board? So the retaining wall goes from 2 feet to 8 feet because of the change in the grade.
2 feet to 5.
So to 5 feet, okay, because I thought,
It says 8 in that, that's incorrect, sorry.
so is that measured from,
Lot line.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
okay.
I'm showing you the heights of the wall right
Oh, I'm sorry, it's not right, it's 8 feet from the property lot line.
How close is it to the property line?
there. It
The
is
first wall.
this one right here.
So he put the,
I put the also on the ground right there. So that's 6 feet. But the property line is right here.
About 4 feet,
Yeah.
property line,
Yeah, and then, yeah.
with a retaining wall?
So that's why, and obviously, it's a request for variance. I don't know if any screening would kind of, what's the word I'm looking for here?
soften it?
Soften, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Soften the view from the neighbor side. Because as far as the contouring is just, I think it's difficult from,
So was this landscape plan brought to the board? I'm just curious.
yeah, the landscape plan
Yeah.
was brought to, preliminarily to the ZBA. We addressed the front wall, we addressed the existing pool, the existing sport court. I don't know how it happened. I don't know.
Was it the existing grade for the new house, or close to it, or did the grade change?
No, that was the existing grade, because there was an existing swimming pool, we never messed with that. So that's why we just had to just work off of that existing swimming pool and the existing sport court. So it was a steep slope coming up, and I showed you back over here, you can see the adjacent house in the distance. It just drops
How
down.
much lower it is? I think somebody was.
6, 7 feet. So again, we didn't touch the elevation of that pool. That pool's an existing pool. All we did was the coping and the walkway. And the picture to the left is the existing home. And if you walk towards the distance, that's where the stairs are that come down.
So from an engineering perspective, there was just no way to make it any shorter
I mean,
and do the job?
safely. I mean, you'd get out of the pool, wear a towel, and then fall off
So what was there before?
just soil.
Okay, so it was a sloping
Very s-
grade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty, other than their retaining wall that the neighbor had. I think this is better for runoff and water and you got a plateau there that we can put, by the way, we're putting rows of viburnum and arborvitae in these areas right here. So all that's going to be screened in both tiers.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? So open this to the public. Anyone that'd like to comment on this item? Close the public hearing then? What's that?
Doesn't it need a pool fence?
Doesn't it need a pool fence? It'll, that was already approved?
The county requires it, I think.
Yeah,
Oh, the township requires a pool fence.
Okay.
let me check. Oh, I'm sure it's going to require a pool. Yeah. Oh, no, in lieu of a pool cover?
No, we still require a
Still
fence.
require, okay.
Absolutely. And I think we want to look at the view that you have from Franklin Road, and that's actually shown not in his photos, but actually from our PowerPoint. You know, so there's visibility from the street, so I think we should consider what type of landscaping for those retaining walls from
Yeah, I do
Franklin.
have those pictures shown. Not in the PowerPoint, right here. Yeah,
You need at least a 5-foot.
Yes.
Yeah, pool fence wouldn't be an issue, because we do them all the time, so if that's a requirement, it would be inherent in the landscape plan.
So, we threw out this word soften, so soften the, do you have any, so you're the expert, do you have any suggestions?
I mean, we do it all the time with all our landscape plans. We throw a nice hedge, maybe a tiered hedge. There's many ways of doing it.
Can you do that here? Could you?
I mean, I mean, I would probably do it at the highest point of the walls, towards the Franklin, where you can see it at Franklin. But then again, we're not done with his landscape plan, with the landscape package, which has significant landscaping material that is still going in. So if you want to address the walls specifically, because there will be hedging around the perimeter, so.
It's visible and it's a lot of.
Do we approve this now or wait until we see what the rest of the stuff that's coming? You know, because the rest of it hasn't been complete. So is it premature for us to approve this if we don't know what the finished product is gonna include and what the screening and other considerations might end up being?
Well, my understanding is he was told to come here to get a variance for correct? You were told, right? So.
Kind of got a little messy because the site plan got approved, and it just got a little convoluted.
I think the board has to act on what information you have for you, which is obviously called out in the packet. Should there be other elements that they want to then come back to the board and address, you can do so at that time. You know, at this point, I think we really need to address, we have these existing, retaining walls that are visible. And if there's a landscape plan that the gentleman can then, speak to in a more global fashion, that would be terrific. But we will really need to speak to more specifically, the walls from Franklin.
So as a board, are we concerned about screening these walls so they're not so visible, they're not so stark? And
Yeah, and we've done that before. So sometimes it's not like, I don't know, because I guess we use the word soften, right? So there's certain things that you can't screen, but you can soften. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want it to look like a wall.
So it's not you're not just looking at all stone.
This is all new material right here. That's in one of the tiers. That's all new.
Say that louder, I didn't hear you. What?
I'm sorry. That's all new material down here.
So where would that? So can you show the other picture and show where that will go? What is that material? Where will that go? And then there looks like there's another row beneath that. Okay.
These are 6-foot arborvitaes. This would be on the lowest tier, adjacent to property. It would go all the way past the highest wall, which is this point right here.
And those are 6 feet.
5.5. Yeah, the arbs are 6. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're not going to see, the neighbor's not going to see the wall at all.
Probably not.
Okay.
And then these are viburnum, and then he has more landscaping over here.
And the smaller ones are going to go in between the.
Yes, on the
Okay. So that softens it.
On the plateau just off of the pool.
And maybe you should show the other picture down.
Yeah, sure.
With the pointer. You look skeptical.
Viburnum.
What's that?
Some are deciduous, some are evergreen. I don't know.
So can you show that view from the neighbor that's got, kind of shows the tiers? He took that good picture.
So this is going to have a row of viburnum. They're staggered, they won't be in a row. They'll be staggered. And this will be a row of...
That's the arborvitae?
Yep.
Those are the 6-foot
That's the
tall?
6 foot.
Yeah, 6 feet.
And that'll be sufficient
Yeah.
to cover the both walls.
Right.
What's the highest point of the second wall, the wall that's further up?
Right there.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay.
I think you need this to hold back the earth between the two properties.
I didn't hear you. What?
Well, I think that the retaining walls are necessary, there's no question about it. it looks like the evergreen screening at the lower tier is sufficient to cover everything, whether there's viburnum in the second tier or not.
Right, that's just for the homeowner, he's the one that's
Yeah.
gonna see that,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
All right, so I think we got it.
All right.
I can make a motion.
Go right ahead.
Is that for Franklin Road?
This is the neighbors, we're looking at the neighbor side. That's not from Franklin Road.
Can you show Franklin Road?
Sure.
That view?
Can't, I don't know how to get to that. That was the pictures I sent previously.
Oh, so you don't have it in your set here?
I don't have it in the PowerPoint.
Okay.
So what's going on Franklin Road?
Just the view from Franklin Road?
But I'm saying, what's the
Wall.
landscape plan?
It's really, just that wall that showed 5.5, that's the only wall you'll see.
And how's that gonna be screened?
That view right there, I'm looking at Franklin Road on the picture on the left.
Yeah.
That's me standing on the wall looking at Franklin Road. So the wall you'd see is the furthest most wall.
Can that be screened there as well?
I mean, you're gonna have screening on this side, and then we'd kind of jog it back in this way to that front of the wall, and that would screen it.
All the way to the house or to
No,
the stairway?
it wouldn't have to go to the stairway. It wouldn't need to go to the house,
So you're just building a green wall?
essentially.
Yep. Well, to, block it from public view.
So yeah, we can put that in the motion.
Pardon me?
We would include that in the motion, so.
I can do that.
I can do that.
All right,
Okay, I'd like to make a motion in regard to the appeal at 5320 Clarendon Crest for the variance for the wall. I move the request be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant did demonstrate all the standards for practical difficulty because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because of the severe topography and the grade. I think it makes sense to control that grade for water and runoff and for safety in between the two homes. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason of the fact that it would be screened, the walls would be screened, and you wouldn't see very much from the neighbor. And we'd also screen the front of the property from a view from Franklin Road. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated based on the difference in height from one property to the next, and this has not been self-created.
Support.
If approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits must be made within 5 business days for the existing retaining walls. Additional evergreen plantings may be required to screen or will be required to screen the wall from public view from the neighbor side and also Franklin Road, and must meet or exceed the height of the wall at the time of planting.
Should we put a date on it?
Put a what on it?
A date?
a date that he has to put the screening in.
Well, like the other guy said, we're having a hard time finding evergreens.
And we're heading
It's
into
a
winter.
real problem. Or larger ones.
Well, the other thing is, you typically wouldn't
And we wouldn't plant it.
Wouldn't plant now anyway.
Spring.
Right, it's winter.
All right, so I'm confused, we're at a
Support.
motion and support. And now we're in the discussion phase, so the question was, did you do it? I think that's been answered. There's the supply and,
Is there a vote?
put it, the understanding is you're putting it in as soon as possible, within, in order to comply with it. So,
We're still in the construction phase.
all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, appreciate it.
That's okay. No, they're good.
Have a good one.
questions.
Okay.
So item 152747 Warwick.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for your time tonight. My name is Danny Feltman. My wife Maggie and I recently moved from St. Louis. We are the homeowners of this location. We are seeking a height and lot line variance. I do want to apologize on what's here is actually a math error, which is embarrassing to admit because I'm a mathematician. But the fence is actually going to come out off on the west side about 14 feet off the house, which will be about, thank you, which will be about 7 feet into the 16-foot requirement, not the 14 feet into the 16-foot requirement. You should have received an email from Jim Bush, the neighbor to the west. Before I started this process, he and I sat down and talked about where the fence was going to go. We agreed upon, and then when I filled out the paperwork and he saw it, he goes, "Why is the fence way over here?" I said, "No, the fence is where we agreed on." He said, "Not according to this." So wanted to get that adjustment there. The fence is going where Jim and I had talked about.
So what's the encroachment into the side yard setback then?
It should be about encroaching, so we need
Encroaching
16
7.
feet. It should be about 7 feet.
7.
You included
You're the
two?
mathematician.
You already had.
I'm sorry, I've been looking at this for so long.
Well, it's either 7 or.
Yeah, because
you
you're
had-
trying to do the math too. I go, well, how, you know.
I can tell you we intended to be 14 feet off the house, whatever that encroachment is.
The fence is going to extend 14 feet out from the house?
Correct.
Okay.
That still doesn't give an information
I know,
regarding
I know.
setback
Yeah,
from the property line.
Yeah, I don't know how far, yeah, the most important thing is I need to how far from the property line it's going to.
What's the difference?
I believe it's going to end up being about
9.
9 feet
That's what I came
off
up
the
with.
property line.
Can we just agree to that then? So you'll just build it to that? Is that good? Is that good? So it's 9 feet, okay.
9 feet.
All right.
We're requesting this. We just recently moved from St. Louis, like I said. I don't know if you went home shopping at all in the last 2 months, but it was difficult, especially difficult from a distance. We were informed that we needed to move in mid-July, and my wife's job asked her to be up in mid-August, and we just said that's not possible. But they asked us to do it as quick as we could. We found a realtor. We sent them about 30 houses we'd love to tour. Made it up 2 weeks later. Only 2 houses were still on the market. I can tell you there's a reason those 2 houses are still on the market. We ran the realtor ragged. We toured. There were open houses. We looked at probably 16 to 18 homes that weekend. This is the first and only one that the HOA, we reached out to the HOA, said, here's the situation. We have dogs. We need a fence. I believe I included that the response was try to avoid chain link and don't build in the front yard. And we said, great, we're good to go. We finished the closing process. We actually thought we were in Bloomfield Hills. All of the postal address is Bloomfield Hills. Only after taking possession of the house did we find out it was Bloomfield Township. It's that way on the paperwork. I just never questioned, I never thought to question whether or not my postal address is my city.
You're from out of town, you wouldn't know.
Right. So, and for the record, I have confirmation from Jim in the email for the fence. I do have written confirmation from a neighbor to the northwest and north across the street that they're good with a 6-foot wooden fence. I have not yet heard back from either of the other 2 neighbors one way or the other.
What's the need for 6 feet? Do you have large
Yes,
dogs?
so we have large dogs. They can jump a 4-foot fence, and we back in elementary school. I know that you were handed a fairly chunky packet. I can talk to all of that. What I'd like to say at this point is, again, we reached out to the HOA. We were told as long as we don't build in the front yard and we try to avoid chain link, we're good. After finding out we're in the township, we put in the request, and the HOA said no, and I actually engaged the services of a real estate lawyer to look over things, and I sent her everything because I said, how can they say yes here and no later? And she said, where's all your HOA paperwork? And I said, I've sent you everything. She went digging. The Hugo Hills Improvement Association Incorporation dissolved as of December 1st, 2020, which is why I was provided with none of the paperwork about an HOA during closing because it didn't exist. Bought the house, I believe we closed September 23rd of 2023. So, struggling that a non-existent entity is trying to tell me I cannot build something I need. And again, even if they provided it, I wouldn't have looked into it, but we were provided no paperwork. If we'd have been told, no, you can't do a 6-foot fence before closing, we wouldn't have bought the house. We need a 6-foot fence. The dog will jump and escape.
Okay, that's compelling. Any other questions from the board? We'll open this to the public. If they'd like to speak on this.
This is on the property line too, isn't it?
Good evening. My name is Bill Carson. I'm the president of the Hugo Hills Improvement Association. Along with me this evening are 2 of our board members and officers. A couple of them weren't able to make it because of time conflicts. But I do have the past president, current vice president, Luke Fela with me, and the current director of communications, Joe Katz, both of whom I believe will also want to make statements. Let's just clear up one thing very quickly. The email that Mr. Feitman refers to was from our treasurer, whom he contacted. And if you take a look at it, it doesn't say, yeah, you can go ahead and build a fence. It says you should have no problem, provided it's confined to the backyard area of the lot. Goes on to say, avoid a traditional chain link, since more attractive decorative fence materials are available. Well, I agree with that. I spoke with Mr. Feltman. As a matter of fact, I went to his house a week ago, sat down with him and said, let's see if we can't resolve some of these issues. We sat in his dining room with his wife for part of the time. We discussed what it is that he wants to accomplish and the restrictions on the property itself. So he refers to this as he was told there's going to be no problem. Well, there's no problem as long as you stay within the confines of your deed restrictions. And counsel, as you know, from I learned in first year law school, the deed restrictions travel with the property, not with the original owner. So the deed restrictions, and in my packet, I brought 3 packets that I hope you can all share. It's got, I'm sorry?
I made extra copies. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I was going to run out of ink on my printer. The deed restrictions point out that there are no fences allowed in the subdivision without approval by the association. Mr. Feltman didn't come to the association for an approval. He just wrote an email and got an email back from our treasurer going, oh, probably no problem. He does not speak for the board in its entirety. You know that. So to say that he's got all these approvals ahead of time is a bit of a shadow. We have a fiduciary responsibility to all 95 other property owners in the subdivision, just as you have a fiduciary responsibility to the people in the township to enforce ordinance and setbacks and such. Mr. Feitman would like to disregard all that. We don't really need to worry about the formality. We'll just say we want to do this. The 19-foot setback from side lot lines, he wants to encroach on that grossly. The 25-foot setback from the rear lot line, he wants to encroach on that grossly. I understand, he's got 3 dogs. He's only supposed to have 2, but he's got 3 dogs, one of whom is, based on what he said in his wife said in the statement, and I've seen the dog, 150 pounds, maybe more. First of all, I don't think a dog that big can jump over much of anything. Haven't seen any evidence one way or the other. But he says he wants to have this area to confine the dogs. We discussed for quite a while what it is that he wanted to accomplish and how we might be able to accommodate him. And in the packet that you've now got is a copy of the agreement that we had come up with. We negotiated it, we agreed, we did a handshake, a real handshake, and I said I would draft up paperwork for it, which I did. And I took it over for a signature yesterday and went back to pick it up. I'm on the committee that runs the air show out at the airport. So after our meeting, I went over to pick it up, at which point he declares, we're not going to sign anything. Biggest complaint he had was I had mistyped the address as 2720 and should have been 2747. But that was his only objection. You want to know, well, who wrote this? I said, I did. He wasn't happy with that. They came in with a sense of entitlement, that they can come in and do what they want because they have 3 dogs and that's justification to do what they want. They want to put a dog door in the side door. There are 2 doors on the west side. One goes into the garage, one goes into the kitchen. They want to put a big dog door in there so the dogs can have free roam of the backyard when they're gone. And according to what Mr. Feitman told me, they are gone from 7 in the morning till 6 at night. So the dogs would be able to go in, go out without any restriction into this area. As I'd originally suggested, rather than coming out from the west side of the house, we just go off the west wall and go straight back.
Do you have like a recommendation you can give us? I mean, typically we
Yes.
have the comments to 3 minutes. We
Oh,
don't have
I'm
a timer.
sorry. I'm sorry. Whoops. It
You could
should
just
be in
sorta
the package.
Give us what's your recommendation?
Our recommendation is that we go back to what Mr. Feitman and I had agreed on. Can I have your pointer, please?
Yeah, just hold on that red button at the top.
You're like a teacher now.
Yeah.
I used to do this. Let me see if where is it? Oh, there it is. This side of the house, coming out, I think that we had agreed on coming out from the house a distance of about 6 feet. Old age is calling me shakies. Coming down this way, and I said, if you need to go to the back lot line, okay, we can go along with that. Across the back lot line, and then instead of going beyond the wall of the house, take this wall on the east side and continue down from there. So from the southeast corner back to the lot line. The ones on the side, this one over here and the side would be black chain link. Black because it fades into the distance and you don't see it.
I think in our packet we have that.
Somewhere I've got
Yeah, so that's what you're
Yeah.
saying was the handshake agreement, or that was what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
So
this
you're
was not included in your packet, but this is, Mr. Feitman gave me a Lowe's item number when he first contacted me and said, oh, we want to do item such and such. So I looked it up on Lowe's, website, and yeah, there you go. This is what the fence would look like. It's a dog ear fence, solid. It's an in-your-face kind of thing. He wants it to be 6 feet high. That's 2 feet farther than the ordinances would ordinarily allow. If he wants to put that along the back lot line, we'd be okay with going to the rear lot line. East Hills Middle School is now on the other side of the tree line from him. He's concerned that the kids playing in the playground might upset the dogs, get them riled up. He also expressed to me concern that kids are already cutting through our yard to go down to
Yes,
school.
I just need the recommendation.
Oh, okay. So our recommendation is black chain link along the north-south runs. If he wants the wood in the back, that's up to you. You can decide that. We'd be okay with that. Along the north-south lines of chain link, he would install 6-foot arborvitae close enough together to form a barrier, visual barrier, so the dog doesn't see an opportunity to just jump this 4-foot, 6-foot fence. That confines the dogs to a reasonable space. They have room to move around. There should be no burden. The problem is, we're not just being SOBs about this. We have limited fencing within the entire subdivision. And to abide by the deed restrictions, any fence that goes in is supposed to get board approval before it goes in. Now, some of the people have fences because they have pools.
So again, we're just looking at this case. I think I understand your recommendation, and I appreciate your comment.
Well, we are looking to be consistent with the neighborhood. We have a fiduciary responsibility.
Understood.
And to just set this down and walk away is a breach of that fiduciary responsibility. So since time is an issue, oh, and by the way, this is the original drawing.
Okay.
Okay. This is the original drawing that we made that night over at his house. And here's the house. He wanted to come out this side, put a 4-foot gate in, chain link, coming down, wood back here.
That distance is 6 feet?
This distance from here to here is 6 feet.
Okay.
You want to put a 4-foot gate in, or a 3-foot gate.
Got it, okay.
and
Thank
then
you very much
arborvitae around
for
each of the north-south.
your comments. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to speak, that would like to add anything that hasn't already been said?
I'll be really brief. If I'm not, feel free to cut me off. So good evening, my name's Luke Fela. I live at 412 Henley in the neighborhood, and I've been on the board for a long time. To me, I'll take a totally different tack here. This is really an issue of style and substance. There are no fully enclosed fences or yards in our neighborhood. And the way that the neighborhood is set up, it has a lot of odd lots. So if someone has a fence, it's a see-through fence. And so what we don't want to do is start a really bad precedent of people being able to enclose their entire fences so that you can't see through it. This is a 50s neighborhood. It's like park-like setting, odd lots. It's open, and we want to keep it that way. We would always resist anyone trying to use wood or any other substance to block off and totally enclose their backyard. So that's really the biggest point here. We don't have a precedence of this. We don't want to start it. We think it'll negatively impact the neighborhood and impact potentially values. So I don't have any issue about him having a fence. I think he should have a fence, but if he could just have, as Bill mentioned, the back end being wood to shield it from the school, but the other side's being see-through, that would be great. And I think it's an easy compromise. So that's all I wanted to say. And we care about the neighborhood, and we want to keep it looking the way it is and not make it worse. Thank you
so much. Is there anyone else that would like to speak and add anything that hasn't already been said?
I did take a couple pictures of the
So your
typical.
your comments are done? So please
Yeah, I
sit
just
down.
wanted to show you this. This is a,
But your comments are done?
Chairman has said we're done.
okay,
Thank you,
Right.
sir.
Yeah.
Chairman rules.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
So I'm going to close the public hearing. And then I'll let the applicant respond to the...
Yes, so first, to the character of the neighborhood, again, we drove around the neighborhood when we were looking at the house. There are at least 4 houses already that have 6-foot wooden fences. If I may, just share pictures. So we, sorry, very quickly, walked around the neighborhood, pictures of 2705 Warwick Court, 2600.
So I'm more interested in some of the requests about screening the fence and the proposal that was made.
So I'm quite happy to plant arborvitae around the outside. My request and part of the handshake deal was that I did not put in 6-foot trees because they're like $400 each, and that's a lot. But that I put in the smaller trees and let them grow over time until they are over the fence. That's actually in the email from Jim Bush. He has no concerns about that. He's the one that's going to get most of the fence line. On the south and east side, can we go to the next, the pictures of the rear and the back? So yeah, actually, one up. There we go. The view to east there, you can see that that's already existing tree line. So the fence is going to go up to an existing tree line.
So our requirement would be, it has to be screened from public view, so you can use it, are those trees on your property?
I don't know. I haven't gotten a survey of my
So the
property.
screening would have to be on your property.
I can plant trees on my property. That's fine. There's going to be enough room. In order for the crew to come out and install the fence, they needed to leave enough room to walk on the other side anyway. I can plant trees on that side. That's no problem.
They have to be the height of the fence at the time of
planting.
installation.
So we'd have the same requirement
I mean,
that
that's,
he made.
And is that regardless of if it's wood or chain?
the ordinance requires screening, and the screening requires the work. And it doesn't work if they'll grow into it. They'll grow into it is not a business plan.
Okay, that's...
And I have empathy for your situation.
Right,
All right?
yeah.
The housing market has not been friendly.
You bought something that you weren't aware of.
Unfortunately, you didn't get, either all the questions you needed to ask didn't get asked, or the intended use didn't get expressed, but somewhere along the line, somebody didn't give you information you should have had. And
I didn't have the title work with the deed restrictions.
What we need to do is try and figure out
what works.
What works, and this is a struggle for me in particular. If this was a shadow box, I might not, 6 foot is still a problem, but something.
Yeah, we typically don't approve.
If I drive through what I would call the urban environment of Birmingham, I would see what you're talking about. But this is not the city of Birmingham. This is Bloomfield Township, and in most instances, we don't even have fences, let alone 6 foot.
About half the neighborhoods, or about half the houses in this neighborhood do have fences.
They may, but they do not have, I'm certain, 6 foot.
Agree, but
fully enclosed.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they abided by the township's zoning.
Yeah,
that
and
happens
the
all the
other,
time.
the other issue is that regardless of what somebody else has, nothing is precedent setting. So if we were to grant this for you, somebody couldn't come in and say, well, you got it. But just because you want it doesn't mean, and somebody else has it, doesn't mean that you get it either.
Understood. I
we're-
meant to talk
we're
to
just trying to figure
talking
out-
to the character of the neighborhood.
Trying to figure out how we can come to some resolution.
How do you, what are your opinions about screening the fence?
With shrubbery, trees.
That's what I'm saying, is he's okay with it, he just doesn't want to have it.
It's just really expensive to buy the 6 foot. I was hoping to buy the shorter and let it grow.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I said,
Everybody's, it's okay.
did you want me to repeat?
Sure, thank you.
I said I'm fine with screening it. It's just very expensive to screen the whole thing with 6 foot trees or shrubs or whatever it is. I talked with, again, irrelevant who I talked with, but I was hoping that I'd be able to buy the shorter ones, plant them in spring and let them grow. That's much less of a financial burden.
Understand.
And there's a shortage.
Do you have to have the 6 foot walled off wood fence at the back? Is that a requirement?
If I need to change to chain, I'm happy to change to chain. I would prefer it. I think it will be easier for my dogs, but if we're growing the arborvitae or similar, then in 2 years it won't be a problem anyway, or however many years it takes to grow. But I need the 6 foot. They're gonna get out otherwise.
Are you good with the location that was agreed upon, supposedly?
So, sir, you don't, the public comments ended, so you're gonna have to sit down.
I was just going to say, if he needs to put in 4 foot arborvitae instead of the 6, as long as they're close together and they screen, we can be flexible on that, our concession.
Right.
That's
So now,
That doesn't, it's the ordinance.
No, that's a determination by the board. Yes, that's a determination by the board, so each site is looked upon on a case-by-case basis about whether fencing should be screened and how it shall be screened, depending on its view. So that's not specified in the ordinance per se, but it's a consideration
it's a
by the board.
balancing of all the
Exactly.
factors.
Yes.
And so that would be a factor, is we have a tough situation. The association has made some compromise, but what about we didn't really talk about the difference in dimensions. So he said 6 foot out.
Go back to the dimensions and I'll.
We've got a compromise on the size. So what about 4? Could you go to 4? You think?
For what?
4 foot arborvitae? Would you plant those?
Mind if I check the price on them real quick?
Sure. You know,
I already got it pulled up, so.
While he's researching
Yes.
that, how does
might
the
go up.
township feel about chain link fences versus the black, spaced out aluminum fences, be they 4 feet or whatever? Do we have an issue with chain link? Are we trying to discourage that here in the township?
That's a determination, well, obviously it's a determination by the deed restrictions in some cases. We don't specify a prohibition of chain link. Depending on the nature of the fencing, in many cases, it's not permitted for a pool fence because it is climbable. But that has led to, when that chain link is proposed, that there be, then that's the instance where there'd be screening.
Yeah, yeah. So we
Because-
got that.
So generally speaking, it's not a favorable design, if I would have to say, just because of the fact that then it always leads to, well, you have to screen chain link fences. Something a little more decorative, obviously, is a little bit more softer, or can maybe have a blend of screening, so it's more decorative.
The other thing that's interesting about this is that our job is not to enforce the ordinances. Our job is to determine whether or not the ordinance
Gets an exception.
gets an exception, and that government hasn't severely restricted the use of property ownership. That's why this is not comprised of employees of the township. This is volunteers, and we do the same with Board of Review. This is our attempt, the government's attempt to provide an opportunity for the citizens to determine if the burdens of the government are overreaching. In this instance, I'm not sure that applies, but anybody who thinks our job is to enforce ordinances is severely mistaken.
I'm looking more toward just making sure that we try to maintain consistency throughout the township
Yeah.
wherever we can.
Yeah, but I'm guessing the chain link fence is a little less expensive than if you had to get a decorative fence. The associated.
it is less
harder to
expensive.
see. It's gonna be screened.
That
So-
leads me to the location of it.
Right, so that's what I was just saying, is what about,
So location, as was talked about, going 6 to 8 feet off the west side. If you go straight back, that puts the fence directly through the trunk of a old tree. I don't know what type. So the 14 feet was off the house was to allow the fence to go back with enough room to get a lawnmower around it.
Then what about on the other side? There's a picture in our packet where it's coming straight off the back of the house.
that was the.
If the east side has to come straight off the back instead of coming out to the tree line there, that's fine.
So why don't we go with that? We got a black chain link fence with, coming right off the house to the back property line. What did you say, how many feet off from the, you said it was gonna be?
9 feet.
9 feet off the property line on the
On the west side?
west, and then it's gonna be screened to 4 feet on both sides.
What about the back? What kind of fence?
You,
Fence of choice?
what kind of fence on the back?
Also
I mean,
where
do you
the
want,
school
you want?
is.
At this point, I'll
Where the
just,
school is.
I think it'll be cheaper just to do chain link the
Just
whole
see,
way.
I would think it
And
would look better if it was chain link all around,
I
so
agree.
as long as he's okay
Yeah.
with it.
And the arborvitae at 4 foot should be sufficient to keep the dogs from perhaps scaring the children. And since it's not, doesn't go to the property line anyway, I think that's a plus.
Yes. So I think we threaded the needle with that on this, if you guys wanna.
Okay.
You guys can't talk, but you good back there? Give me a,
Andrea's giving it a shot.
no, don't talk, just,
So,
all I was saying is you have a thumbs up. I just need it. All right, no thumbs up.
I'm
Then
gonna
that means
take
it's a
a
good
shot
result.
at
You're
making
not-
a
you're
motion.
not back
Great,
there.
great. I'm
Yeah.
gonna make a motion.
Yep.
We're gonna give it a whirl. So with the,
Making a motion, sir. Okay.
Okay,
Should I
so
do
you're
that?
not happy with it, that's okay.
are we ready?
Go ahead, yes.
Feel free to jump in if there needs to be an adjustment. So,
I'm sure you've got it.
in regard to the permission request required for the proposed dog containment fence at 2747 Warwick Drive, I move that the permission request be approved. I don't even want to say as submitted, but, well, as submitted, based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate compliance with section 42-7.6 standards because the use of the accessory structure or the location of the accessory structure will not hinder nor discourage the adjacent use of property due to the fact that it's not directly on the lot line. So that's the permission request, and I'm also going to dovetail the dimensional variance request as it's required for the proposed dog containment fence encroaching into the required rear yard setback and side yard setbacks. Yet, I think that It's not encroaching in the backyard setback, is it?
It's supposed to be 25, they're proposing 15.
Okay, yes, so I'm going to stick with the original verbiage I had. So I move that the variance be approved as requested. Based on the information presented, the applicant did demonstrate all standards for practical difficulty. Because compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome due to the size of the lot, it's important to be able to have some sort of space for your dogs to be able to be contained safely. There's no injustice to the adjoining neighbors by reason that this fence will be screened with evergreen plantings. Unique circumstances with the property have been demonstrated given the the existing requirements with the neighborhood and the township requirements. We've come up with a nice compromise, and the size, and it's not self-created due for the same reasons. I am going to clarify in the motion that the fence is going to be pulled in 9 feet from the
West
south
lot
side,
line.
right?
West side.
West side.
West side, I'm sorry.
So it's going to be encroaching 7 feet into the 16-foot side yard setback. So why don't you say that? It's going to encroach
7 feet into the 16-foot side yard setback.
Okay.
And then on the other side, it'll come directly off the back of the house. And the back of the fence will be 10 feet into the rear yard setback.
And then you got to say it's going to be black chain link.
Black chain link, screened with evergreens of
Height of 4 feet.
I'm getting there.
Oh,
To the
okay.
height of about 4 feet. And here we go. If approved, the motion must include application for all necessary permits to be made within 1 year. All permits must be obtained prior to construction. That's it.
Support. So is everybody clear on this now as a staff? Are we going to have this in the minutes? Do you guys?
Yeah, but we got it. Nope, we got it.
We've got a 6-foot black chain link fence.
Yep.
We've got it set back 9 feet from the westerly lot line and coming straight off the house in the southeast corner
Can I make a comment?
with
at this
4-foot
point?
evergreen planted,
And 10 feet into the 25-foot rear yard.
as presented.
So I have a comment.
You're good.
I think on the back property line that's adjacent to the school, that should be a little bit more dense because it's going to take a couple years to get high enough. And they're shaped like this, so the kids are going to be able to see through more.
Stagger.
It's just
Do
more
that, too.
dense
Just more dense.
on the backside.
Okay.
So I typically don't do this, but what did you want to say? Quick, no, you got to do it right there. Nope.
I'm not coming up. You said 4 feet before, and what was just said was 6.
No, I said 4.
4-foot arborvitae.
4-foot fence.
Oh, I thought you said,
6-foot fence.
4-foot fence, the 4-foot arborvitae is going to height of 6 feet.
6-foot fence.
You just compromised on that.
No, 6-foot fence.
We're aware of
It's
that.
all done.
Yep, it's all done.
Okay.
Are we doing a 6-foot fence?
we're doing a 6-foot fence.
We're doing a 6-foot fence.
We're all
For
set.
arborvitae's. That's the motion.
Yeah, 6-foot fence.
So what we've approved is a 6-foot fence with 4-foot arborvitae that are going to grow.
Yeah.
Understood?
Understood.
All right. All right, so
Yeah, but-
good. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nice job.
Congratulations.
That was a
The-
toughie.
the,
Thank you for your time
motion
tonight.
Welcome.
Passes as modified. Calling the next item, item 2747 Warwick. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 16. Item 16, 1822 Fox Hills Drive. Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. I'm doing well.
Have you been entertained? Do you feel like you've gotten your money's worth?
Yes. I was really missing Judge Judy when public TV ended, so that was great.
We're missing public service.
Yeah, no, I appreciate your guys' public service. So I'm Justin Booth from Coastal Pools, here representing the Fox Hills community. We are looking for a dimensional variance for encroachment into what is deemed a front yard or a frontage on Updike, even though actual frontage is on Fox River Drive. What we are looking to do is renovate this beautiful community center of this 4 for this, sorry, God, it's, being number 16 is rough.
You're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you. So what we're proposing to do is they have, the community has.
So you're reconfiguring the pools.
Exactly, thank you.
They used to be kind of an L configuration, now they're
Yes.
parallel. One's a competition-sized pool, so it's a huge upgrade and benefit.
Correct. Thank you. That was so well put.
All right, so any
Yes.
other questions on this? Open up to the public. Come on up. No, you got to come up and tell us your name and.
All the good stuff.
Yeah, if you've been here this long, you're entitled to get the full treatment. Yeah, we don't want you to be shortchanged.
This is my first rodeo, never been.
Happens.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
welcome. Come back, even
Your
when you
first-
don't have something on the agenda.
Well,
You
it
got
sounds
to
like.
say your name and address.
Oh, the name is Shirley Green. Do you want me to pull my mask down? And I live at Fox Hills,
Address?
1990 Hunters Ridge.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for
Oh,
staying.
okay. So I got this phone call that I was not in compliance with paying for this pool. They want to put in 2 new pools, which I knew nothing about because I don't do.
You gotta speak to the board.
We're just
Oh,
talking
I'm
about.
so
We're
sorry.
just talking about the variance.
I
for the board,
don't,
though,
I
so-
don't do email, so it sounds like it's been approved by the board, by you guys already,
Well, no, we
because they are,
haven't. We're just listening to decide.
well, they already started charging us according to the phone call
We don't have
that,
anything to do with the payment.
They
for the
are
pool.
not us.
well, what I'm saying is that if it hasn't been approved, maybe they know they were gonna get approved, why are we paying prior to the approval? That's what I don't,
You want to direct your, Paul, you want to talk to her maybe?
That's really not relevant to the variance, so.
We have no
Okay, so I
authority.
don't
So
know
if that's
what
what your
that
question is, you
Okay.
can talk to Paul.
From the HOA, he'll be able to.
He's from the HOA. So thank you for your comments,
For
and
concern.
I'm glad that Paul can answer them.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. We'll come up with an award for you, Paul.
We haven't
Well-
decided yet.
We need you to step outside and then we'll discuss it. But, okay, so
Okay, so to rehash it, like you said, the existing pool, which is currently perpendicular to, so the smaller pool that's close to the clubhouse, that's essentially going to remain. The other pool is currently perpendicular. Cool thing about Fox Hills community is that they actually have a swim team for the community. That's all kids from the community. Right now, they are using a pool that's shaped kind of like an odd bean shape for competitive swim meets, and it's kind of a joke. So we are proposing is to make the pools parallel. It'll increase the deck space a little bit, make it easier and more functional, separate the pools a little bit more to keep the deep pool away from the shallow pool, kiddie pool, competitive swim pool that'll now have 4 lanes and actually be the correct size. So the actual encroachment, as far as where the current pool that is now perpendicular, it's really not encroaching any further into that updike frontage.
So the issue is a permission request to have a pool where you already have a pool,
Correct.
and the other is to have it in a front yard because you have 2 front yards.
That's correct. Couldn't have said it better myself.
This is easy. I get to do this one? Gee, thanks.
you're jumping in.
With regard, with regard to the, Mr. Chairman, with regard to the permission request for dimensional variance at 1822 Fox Hill Drive, permission request first, I move that the permission request be approved as submitted based on the information presented. The applicant has demonstrated all compliance with section 42-7.6 standards. I'm going to miss that. The location of the accessory structure will not hinder or discourage the adjacent use of property due to the fact that it's the same as what's already been there. As far as the practical difficulty or the dimensional variance, I'm going to move that it also be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant has demonstrated all of the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome because it would have kids swimming in a non-competitive swimming pool, which is foolish. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors. In fact, this is a pool that's just simply being placed where there's already a pool. That doesn't even make sense. and the unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated because the kids don't want to swim in a bean-shaped competitive pool, and that certainly is not self-created. The fact that it has 2 front yards is certainly not self-created. With all of that having been said, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
All right.
I have a motion and support. Any discussion?
Did I mention that I want to do a 6-foot-tall wood fence and also put some lights on top of it?
You know, the humor at this point in the evening is appreciated. We haven't voted
We
yet.
gotta vote.
We got to vote. So all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Oh, there you go.
Congratulations, Groucho Marx.
Run.
Absolutely.
Right.
Thanks for hanging with us.
Yeah, thanks for, okay.
I hope you gentlemen have
1401.
1410 Club Drive. This is Forest Lake Country Club. I'm Ryan Moore, the golf course superintendent. We embarked on a journey of many improvements to our facility, and this is just one of them. If anyone is driven by Club Drive and is familiar with the Forest Lake property, we own the western lot, which is the clubhouse, parking lot, and pool, about 420 feet. On the east side is the golf course, the property, probably about 110 acres. As you can see in these photos right here, on the right side, this is the area of improvement we're talking about. The right side, there's a yew hedge. We used to prune it at 6 feet tall. It provides a block from the pedestrians that walk from the locker rooms across Club Drive. That white line you can see, the double yellow, the white line is actually deemed by the road commission. That's our property. They're easterly. So originally, I went in for, what do you call it?
Design Review Board.
I went to the design review board, and we thought the right-of-way was farther, but that's the right-of-way right there. So we're on our property. So as you can see right here, we kind of have 2 things, looking out and looking in. So on the right side, which is the south side, we have a hedge that we removed with 6 feet. Pedestrians could not see going back and forth. Landscapers go up the road full speed. Sometimes our members late for tea times go up full speed. We wanted to get a better kind of flowing area. We have increased the area, which is where that hedge is, that is now pavement. So we actually have a proper shoulder of the road. The road commission allowed us to add 7.5 feet to the shoulder of the road.
You want me to go back to the one you're at?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, the one I'm at's almost easier for everything as you go through. Go back one more.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well,
You only have one
now here's the look. So essentially, we've moved into our property and have given back to the road 7.5 feet. That allows for a proper lane to go across, that confined entrance. We have created a space about 40 feet instead of 20, so everybody going back and forth between staff and members can get through that area. Our desire is to create what you see in front of you. Instead of what we had, we want to create this north wall section, which is on the top, and a south wall section that's on the bottom. Both, even though it looks linear, can you go back to one of the original photos there? That's perfect. So those entrances are actually curved, as you can see, and attached to them is a 32-foot section of low fence with a pillar on the end. As we push back, the land actually kind of rises, so to make it look right, we created a 5-foot wall. On the front, it will look 5 feet. On the back, it's going to vary. It's going to get kind of buried a little bit in the landscape, so that's why we're a little bit higher. You move forward back to the picture of the front of the wall, which is easier to look at. So essentially, it's going to be a split-face boulder wall. We're going to have a lower wall with wrought iron fence. We can see out and in. We create this nice spatial relationship safety-wise. And the final desire is to put a Forest Lake inscript. It works to about 7 feet by 2 feet on the split-face wall with some landscaping in front to kind of soften it up. And we do have lights on top of our pillars, which you're going to love to close the meeting. The lights on top of the pillars, we do have 4 columns or pillars at the golf club currently, which are the exact same and have been there for 50, 60 years, very adjacent to the road. So this kind of follows the theme of what we've had. So any questions to this point that need a little bit further explanation? So essentially, we've created safety as far as having a lane for members to pull off to drop off their golf clubs or their partners. We've created an open space for pedestrians to go back and forth. We need to illuminate this area because our golfers like to try to get to 18 late at night, and we do have a bag staff that needs to park carts put away gear and clean up the areas. So
You also provide banquet facilities to outside users, because I've in fact been to them.
The chambers had
And
their annual meeting there. Yeah.
the need for the lights,
A lot of stuff.
recalling
the unique
recalling
sit-
the condition I was in at the end of that evening, the lights were necessary.
the unique situation is when the club was established in 1926, it was a gravel road with minimal residents. Now it's almost become a throwaway for a connection point when Square Lake gets jammed up or Franklin gets jammed up.
Yeah, I've sold property over there.
And the height, the height to the top of the lights is 7.5 feet.
Yeah, so we're 5 foot to the top of the pillar, and those lights that we currently have are 28 inches.
Okay, very good.
Yeah, I have no problem.
Any other questions? Open this up to the public for comment. Close the public hearing, bring it back for a motion. Bob, you should
Come on,
make
Bob,
this.
take it
'cause
away.
This is your last motion. It's got ears with
Big
lights on.
ta-da.
What a way to go out. Yeah.
I'm gonna be part of
Your favorite.
the story, right?
Oh,
You're gonna be
man.
part of history.
Okay.
Here we go.
Mr. Chairman, with
This is gonna be a
regard
framed motion.
to the permission request and the request for dimensional variance at 1401 Club Drive, also known as Forest Lake Country Club. I'm going to take the permission request first. I move the request be approved as submitted based on the information presented. The applicant has demonstrated compliance with section 42-7.6 standards. The location of the accessory structure will not hinder or discourage the adjacent use of property due to the fact that the adjacent use of property is their property. As far as the dimensional variance is concerned, I'm going to move that it also be approved as requested based on the information presented. The applicant has demonstrated all of the standards for practical difficulty. Compliance with the strict letter of the ordinance would be unduly burdensome and in fact would provide a safety hazard to the community. There is no injustice to the adjoining neighbors because they are their own adjoining neighbor to where this is going to take place. Unique circumstances of the property have been demonstrated because this is a well-recognized facility within the heart of Bloomfield Township, and it is in need of capital improvements, of which these are very finely designed capital improvements. That certainly is not self-created. The choice was either exist or not exist. They've chosen to exist, and they've chosen to make themselves proud of the community within which they reside. With that having been said, application for all necessary permits must be made within 1 year, and all permits must be obtained prior to construction.
Support.
That was a weird motion.
Motion and support. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, your request is granted.
Thank you.
So do I have a motion to
Paul's
adjourn?
back.
Yes, you do. I move
And
to
second?
adjourn.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned.